Hello everyone. Today we are discussing candidates round 12. I'm Rajdeep. I'm a chess Gaja content creator. I'm FIDE editor of around 1550 standard FIDE editing, and I'm also playing chess from past 14 years. You can say more than 14 years. So let's get started. Let's go to the candidates round 12 first match. So the first match of the candidates is between, of course, Javokhir Sindarov versus Hikaru Nakamura. So Javokhir Sindarov on the lead and Hikaru Nakamura as black. Can he stop him here and now? Let's see. He starts with d4, d5, c4, standard opening with e6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3. Queens can be declined, and h6. h6 is usually played to stop any kind of infiltration with the bishop. So that's the reason h6 is played. It's a bit kind of sideline, but it's fine. And center goes with the Catalan, bishop to d7, bishop to g2, castles, castles, and takes knight here, attacking the pawn, and after knight to c6, bishop takes, pawn takes, and knight takes. I think we have seen this structure in last Fabiano's game. It was exactly played, but the structure was except the pawn on h6. Pawn was on h7. So that's how the structure is slightly different, but it's fine. So pretty imbalanced game from the starting. The knight is on c3 already. The last structure was not knight c3 included. Bishop e3 was played, and this time queen to a4 was chosen. So a5, queen takes on the c4 pawn, bishop here, and now queen is traded. Queens are traded, which means there is no chance of much of any wins by white or black. Position is quite even. There's not much there to play. It's come in the between. Rook goes to e1. Knight comes in the center. Knight takes. Rook takes. Bishop here, protecting the pawn. Pawn to a4, advancing, taking more space. Bishop f3 and f6 into f2. Very solid structure by both. Rooks come to the middle. Bishop comes here. Rook come here, attacking both the rook and the bishop. Takes. That is a huge amount of exchange. Bishop goes back, and there is some shuffle with the pawns. Now rooks are off, and this is completely a drawn position with opposite colored bishops. No much of play here. It's very much, and in opposite colored bishop, even if you're a pawn down, doesn't matter. You can easily hold it. Even if you're two pawns down, still a draw can be held. So nothing much happened. Repeated moves, and the game is a draw. So, and with this, sadly, Hikaru Nakamura is out of the tournament with 5.5 points. So now let's go to the next rounds. So next round it is Anish Giri going on against Wei Yi. Wei Yi as white, Anish Giri as black. Can Anish Giri pull off something here? So let's get to the game. Game starts with e4, e5, standard opening, knight to c3, intending towards Vienna, knight to f6, and then bishop to c4, bishop c5, and d3. So closing on solidifying the structure, closing on structure, and now castles f4. Yeah, the Vienna is on the board. Takes, takes, and c6. Now trying to improve your structure with either b5 or d5 in the future. This is what Anish Giri wants. This this structure is very commonly played, and the idea for white is to go to this area and go to this area on the king side and start attacking black's king, while black has to stay patient, make a small lead here and there. The pawn break with d5 should be made if your opponent is attacking on the side. Then center should be opened. You should break in the center. That's the idea. And the d4 was played. D4 is interesting move. It kind of gives up a pawn and it intends that I will lose a pawn, but I will gain activity. That's what Wei wants. So takes here, Wei loses a pawn, but Wei immediately castles, and now the activity of white is blooming. You can see that, and as white starts getting some activity, immediately black strikes in the center. As we discussed before, that if your opponent is getting some activity, you should also, as soon as possible, get more activity with tempo. So knight takes, pawn takes, weighs down even more pawns now, but he's getting the activities closest in the structure. And always remember, close structure always benefit the attacking ones. So that's why closing the structure benefits Wei Yi in positional way. You can understand that. Knight to g3, getting in with the knight, with the bishop, with the rook. We have, and there can be situation where a very brutal attack can be coming with the queen as well, coming up towards the center, towards the king side. Knight to a6 after some thought, and then we play queen to e2, trying to bring the queen into the game. Knight comes to c7, trying to get into the central, and queen takes. Okay, finally we wins back a pawn, and now Anish Giri tries to equalize the position, trying to resolute, raise any kind of attack. Brings the knight towards the center. Knight in the center actually is very beneficial during such attacks, as knight can slow down your opponent's pieces coming into the game as soon as possible. It's necessary to know that it's a very uh, positional concept, but that is how it goes. Anish Giri tries to take space on that side. Knights come in forward as we discussed, and bishop immediately chops up the knight, removing any kind of counterplay by the rook takes, and g6 drives away the rook, f5 drives away the knight. This is how you play if your opponent is attacking. You have to drive away those like annoying pieces from your position. Queen goes back, as you can see, and bishop chops the knight. This is how you usually play during like in an attacking game. If your opponent is attacking, you are on the defensive side. You have to remove the pieces which are in the better square of the opponent by using the pieces or the pawns, and chop off any kind of attacking pieces like knights or bishop using your resources. So pawn takes here, and Wei immediately strikes to try to destroy the structure of uh, Anish but Anish Giri still up some material, and some shuffles happen slowly. That is, here we made a mistake. Here There, there is a check is the best way to play, and after king moves, the best way to play here is queen to e3. And queen to e3's idea is that even if you come into the position, try to promote the pawn, think that you are getting mated. So you have to be careful here. So let's see if Anish Giri plays that. And Anish Giri doesn't play it, and the game is back to equality, back to the board drawing board as Anish Giri always does this, gets a slight opportunity in a very imbalanced game, but still does not take it, does not take advantage of these opportunities. Um, this, if we do not take advantage of such opportunities, such subtle disadvantages that your opponent has, then it is impossible to win the game. So this is what happens, and after pawn moves, rook comes here towards the center. Pawn, pawn pushes forward, giving king a better breathing space. No back rank mate anymore. Now pawn takes, and here pushing the pawn to f3 in order to break apart the pawn structure of white's king, making it more vulnerable in the future. And that's what happens. Queen comes in, attacking the pawns. King tries to maneuver. Queen takes the pawn. King comes to f2. Queen goes back, and uh, pawn is placed to h4. Rook comes here, attacking the other pawn here. Bishop comes there. Check. Rook comes trying to attack the queen. Queen goes there. Queen trying to infiltrate. The pawn is pushed. King here, and now there is no chance of any kind of counterplay by Anish Giri. So and he checks some series of checks, and here there was some chance for Anish Giri to take over the game by taking the f pawn. But now queen comes into the defense, and it's a series of checks, and there is nothing in the game. The game ends in a draw, which means Anish Giri spot in the candidates is very tight. There is only two more rounds to go, and Anish Giri is only at 7 points. And he has to be very quick in order to catch Sindarov. Next round, it's Anish Giri versus Javokhir Sindarov. If Anish Giri wins, still the next round, Anish Giri has to win 2 rounds in a row. And if Javokhir Sindarov loses 2 rounds in a row, then there is some chance. Otherwise, 99% Javokhir Sindarov is winning the tournament. And of course, Wei is out of the tournament as well. And the next two matches, which is of course Fabiano Caruana versus Matthias Bluebam. Um, Showing this game is pretty purposeless, or both of them are pretty out of the tournament. Even if they win 3 rounds in a row, they cannot catch up with Javokhir Sindarov as he is at 9 points. So this game just went like usual. Queen's Gambit declined and then got exchanged. The structures are intact. Nothing much is going on. There's some shuffling. They're just playing. Just you can say just chessing. There is nothing much to say. Pieces are getting exchanged. Structure is being pushed, and some exchanges happen. It's endgame, and it ends in a draw with perpetual. So nothing much to discuss in this, as both of them are out of the game, and sadly, even our own Praggnanandhaa is also out of the game with Andrey Andrey Esip, and even Andrey Esipenko and Praggnanandhaa are out of the game. Start with c4, but it goes into a line. It, very crazy game, but it's no use. Pieces all get exchanged, and usually these things go into mostly a draw. They shuffle, and some checks and exchanges, and they shuffle to the draw. So that's it. Candidates almost out of 8 members, 6 members are out. Only 2 members are running. Mostly Javokhir will win the tournament. There's 99% chance, and I don't think so. Javokhir will lose both the rounds, both 13th and the 14th rounds of the tournament. It's a long shot for sure. Anish Giri has to literally rely both on his skills. He has to put the foot on fire and go for broke if he wants to do something, have some chances in this tournament. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to catch up to Javokhir with 9 points, while he's only at 7 points for his disposal. So this is men's, or you can say open candidates 2026. So that's the conclusion. So that's the signing off from Chess Gaja. Bye bye.